Hey friends, my name is Doug. Welcome to the Third Style Garage, and this is...
There we go. I thought you were going to forget me. This is Dale.
You're standing in the scene.
Well, you know.
Welcome to Third Style. This is an episode about the restoration of a 66 Mustang convertible named Hendrick. We are in episode 47, and after last week's headlight bucket fiasco, we are hoping to make better progress tonight. Let's get started on the driver fender. Passenger fender's working pretty well. We're starting on the driver's side fender, and we're gonna start bolting it up. We've got some hole mounting, I don't know, we got to fix some of the holes in the fender. We're also going to bolt it up with this corner nice and tight, and then we're going to see how it fits on the bottom and how it fits on the top, and see whether this corner needs to be changed at all. So let's get started by bolting it up. Fender's not fitting very well to the car.
Sorry, start over. I wasn't.
Okay. You're on now?
Now I'm on.
Really, you're on.
I'm really, yep.
Such a boomer. The fender is not fitting well to the car at all. In a moment, you'll see on this side, there's a big enough hole that I can fit my arm in. We have a couple bolts, I don't know, 3 or 4 bolts in the front to lock in this corner where we want it, and it is not lining up at all in the back. And if we force it to, the whole fender starts to twist, and this part of the car, it's a little hard to see, but it twists as well. And so there's a couple things it could be something we don't know at all. Could be this is an aftermarket fender and it's not fitting right. Could also be that this joint here is not quite right. If you remember right from previous episodes, we cut off the front of the car, and right here is where the joint was, where we welded on the new front clip. That's a joint that I put together, which makes it naturally suspect. So we're trying a couple things. One thing we did is we put a bolt in, a long bolt in this fender nut, and then I have a big lever on it. And so if I pull on this, you can see the whole front clip flex. And so we've watched, and my shoe stuck. As this flexes, the fender does get a little closer. Can you see down there? The fender does get a little closer to the car, so that makes us think that the shape of the car might not be quite right. So this line right here, if this line is off on an angle, meaning that this point here might be too far kinked out, and this angle might be shooting the whole fender away from the car. So it could be the car, could be the fender, we don't know which it is. Dale had the great idea, I'll go on record of saying it. Apparently, according to Dale, this is the first time in 47 episodes I've ever given him credit for a good idea.
That's not true. I rarely get the good idea. It's usually you.
This is the fender off of the parts car, which may be an original fender. Either way, it's another fender. So we're going to take that one off, put this one on, even though it's not a good fender, And if it sits the same as that aftermarket fender, it hangs off the back the same way, that will give us some confidence that it's not the fender, that it's something in the car. If the two sit completely different, then we'll know that the fenders aren't even close, and maybe that won't help us at all. So now we're going to cut some bolts off and we're going to put this fender on and see what we learned. So we have the original fender off the parts car on. It looks kind of cool. I think you should go with this deal. It's a lot more aerodynamic. Just think how big of a headlight you could fit in there. Couple of things we noticed right off the bat. You know, this part, this fits really nice. The bottom is even pretty close, other than the fact that there's a big dent right here. And so as we were putting this on, we were both like, oh, this fender's gonna fit great. It is the repo fender, it's not the car. And then we got over to here. It is, the gap on the other fender was slightly larger than that, but not by a lot. And that really makes us think that the problem is right here, where this diverges off. This angle is not right. So I think what we're thinking now is that we need to take this fender off. We need to do some sort of a relief cut in here. Pull this in until both of these fenders sit comfortably up against the body. We think if we do a relief cut, maybe not all the way through, but just kind of from here down a little ways, then as we pull this in, that cut will collapse until the fender fits right, and then we can weld it in. So we hope that works. All right.
That close?
I don't know.
The gap a little closer?
You want to throw the tape on it and measure?
Yeah, I think so. All right, that might have done something.
So we had measured from this point to a fixed point back here, and we were 40 5/8. And now we're 40 1/2. So we have moved it 1/8 of an inch. So try to pull a little farther. All right. Now we're at 40 5/16. So I think it's time to
Bolt up a fender.
bolt up a fender. Old one or new one?
I think let's try the old one, and like you said, let's see if
Probably
we can
the
make the
most
body
original.
fit the most original, and then maybe shape the reproduction. So
All right, let's do it. Fender's on. Looking good on the front like it did before. And it is better. We're not quite there yet. We're probably about an inch, inch and a quarter gap in the widest part, but I think we are headed in the right direction. The other thing Dale commented on is this curve of the trunk looked really nice. This curve had a kink in it that we didn't really like. And, you know, the hood's going to cover the majority of that, but this does look a touch better. And I think if we can even bring this in just a touch more, just a touch, I think that's going to be good. But before we fix that, I think we need to put the hood on and make sure that we haven't caused other problems. And we're learning that test fitting is uber important. So test fit, test fit, test fit.
All right, yep.
All right, we're gonna go a little further.
Let's.
Good?
I'm getting nervous. That's really starting to go.
Okay. All right, we'll try that. All right, we have been off camera for a while, and I want to update you on what's going well and what's not going well. So we did get this fender to fit very well, so that's a win for the night. We decided, you know, follow our own advice, test fit, test fit, test fit. We put the hood on, and then when we closed the hood, we noticed several problems. One problem is the hood was way off to the driver's side, to the left side. Probably, if you look at the gap between the hole in the fender there and the hole in the fender there, it was probably that way, ½ inch, 5/8 of an inch too far. Our gap back here was huge, but that we expected. So we feel like we have two problems to solve. One of them is the centering location of the hood. So we spent a while trying to figure out, is there a way that we can shim the hinges on each side, or you know, adjust things, and we did not come up with any good solutions there. We did go out to the parts car, and you can see that we have one painted hinge. So we took that hinge off and bent it so that the plane of this mounting surface is about 1/4 of an inch to the passenger side of this inside mounting surface. And I can show you what I mean by that a little bit. And that did help us get the hood centered. As you can see, the hood is decently centered in the front of the car. Our gap over here, or this, I don't know what you would call it, but this part of the hood lines up with the plane of this fairly well. Same thing on this side. We did have to, the mounting bolts here, we adjusted back and forth 3 or 4 times to get this gap to be approximately what we want. What we are not happy with is this. The hood sits proud of the front quarter quite a bit. You can kind of see there. Yeah, that kind of shows it. There's Dale with a very happy look on. We've been thinking way too hard for a Tuesday night. So we've got an overlap of the hood there. And then my phone cameras, you're gonna kind of see the same thing over here. That it seems like the hood is almost too wide in the middle, which is very unlikely to be the case. So it makes us think that our front clip needs to be spread. Now tonight, earlier, we did a relief cut here, and we actually moved this in 1/4 of an inch. And it seems now that that likely contributed to the problem, but it probably was more than that as well. So we are going to do a couple things now. We know this is not the fender that we want to use for the long run. I don't know why, Dale, it's a beautiful fender. So that fender goes back on. And we're gonna tweak the original hinge similar to what we did with this one. And then we're gonna put the hood back on and make sure that the hood is centered the way that we want it to. And then we've got some brainstorming to do. We have some rough ideas on how we are gonna try to spread the car a little bit this way. Probably involves making a relief cut like this over here. So both of them have a little bit of the ability to flex. That's what we're working on now. So it's been a lot of hard thinking tonight. We've made some progress, but man, we're so glad we put the hood on, because if we hadn't put the hood on, we would have been thinking, oh, this fender fits great now, weld it in, put the other one on, and move on. So keep reassembling things, folks. Learn from our mistakes. All right, Dale, you swap out that fender. I'm gonna swap out that hinge. All right, so I have the good hood hinge, well, kind of good, in the vise. And I'm trying to look straight in line with this pivot point tab. And if I look straight in line with that, this mounting surface is a little too far to my right. And that actually would contribute to making the hood even more crooked than when we started. What I really want is to flex this thing over that way. So I'm going to do a slight bend here and a slight twist here so that this plane stays in the vise and this mounting surface is actually on the left side instead of currently on the right side the way it is here.
I will say this about this fender. It does not have elongated holes, and all of the fender bolts match up perfectly. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
No, maybe not perfectly. They line up good.
Okay, so I did my tweaks. We're looking straight down the plane of here inside the vise. And you can see my hood hinge, the part where it matches to the hood, is now to the left of it a bit. So that should work on shifting our hood to the left, which would be the passenger side of the car. We are wrapping up for the night. So here's where we're ending. We made some progress. We made a lot of progress. So we have a fender that fits well, that we thought we were gonna need to trim all of this off. And now we know we need to do a little massaging work down here and a little repair. There's a crack in it. But this fits well. Remember how there was a giant gap all the way down, and now we have all of the bolts in, all of the holes, except for one, which I got too lazy in the front to put in the very bottom. So that feels really good. What we learned along the way is that we have a bit of a hood issue. And we have the original hinge, both the original hinges in, and the hood is fairly centered. The hood is just a little wider than the opening, and so we have a little bit of that overhang right here that we're going to think about and ponder, and then maybe tackle that next time we're together. But, you know, we're further down the field than when we started with the night, so that's a good thing. Is that a good thing, Dale?
It's a great thing.
It's a great
It's starting
thing.
to look like a Beetle again.
It does look like a Beetle again. I like the patina. You should just clear coat it like that. We're gonna call that a wrap tonight, and it's heading into Christmas break for us. So we're gonna spend some time with family. Dale's gonna do some traveling. Anybody, you're going east, anybody you wanna say hi to?
Yeah, I gotta say hi to Wyatt. Wyatt's a
Hi, Wyatt.
watcher and a whole bunch of the New York fam. Appreciate that. Dad Lind, thanks for watching.
So thanks for being part of this and following along. Both Dale and I wish all of you and your family a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and we will see you probably next year.